Hi, it's Dennis at KingMakerForex.com here to tell you about how to use the Kingmaker Conviction Indicator. In one sense, Kingmaker Conviction is obvious from looking at a chart, but there are some little ins and outs, and I want to cover those for you. Now, first of all, to use any Kingmaker code, all Kingmaker code is written in ThinkScript, which is a think or swim language which is used by TD Ameritrade.com. You would have to go and open a free account, a free demo account at least, or a real one. There's no minimum to open a real one either. That's where you can load Kingmaker code. Otherwise, there's just no other platform that uses it. Now, you can get the code for free. You don't even have to sign up. You just go to KingMakerForex.freeforums.net, and there you'll find the code that you can copy right off the website. Now, that's the forum website, but our actual website is KingMakerForex.com, and you'll be able to navigate from there if you prefer. Now, you probably want to know just exactly what Kingmaker Conviction is, what it represents, and why it's called Conviction. Alright, there are two main plots. As you can see here, there's this blue plot here and this green plot down below. And what those represent is information about the size of candles, or the average size of candles over a specified period. And you can modify those periods as you wish, as you'll see later. And there are full instructions over there at the forum, that KingMakerForex.freeforums.net that I showed you. It's very simple to do, very easy to do. Okay, this first plot, the blue plot, what that's about is the high to low average of a candle. So it's the size of the candle from high to low. The green plot down below is about the body of the candle, from the open to the close. And we're looking now at an hourly chart. And this is the New Zealand US dollar pair. Not sure what date we're looking at here. There is an overall date range, and there it is right there, 2 p.m. on the 21st of November to 6 p.m. on the 26th of November 2014. I'll scan across so you can kind of get a view of what that's about, and back, and that's your range right there. Now, getting back to the plots, the high to low, this blue plot, that tells us a lot about the enthusiasm behind recent trading. The green actually is what tells us about conviction, because that's your open to close plot of the candle. And the bigger green is, it means there's more conviction behind whatever is going on. The red line here running through the green plot, where the open to close plot is, that's a zero line. Okay, so what we have with the open to close is we have negative and positive values, meaning you're either getting blue or red candles. You really don't have to memorize all this. I'm just explaining it because there are people who want to know. Reading it, that's a different matter, and we will cover how you read the crosses in here. Now, on the blue plot, along with the blue plot, you have these two plots here, or subplots you might say here. It's red and black. Those are very long-term moving averages of the blue plot, of the high to low. And they are used as trigger lines for the blue plot, for the high to low plot. The zero line down below with the open to close plot, that's used as a trigger line for the open to close green plot. And you might wonder why I use a zero line and end up with positive and negative values for that green plot. It's really pretty simple. I needed a trigger for it. It was a choice between setting up an additional moving average or just putting a zero line in there. And I went with a zero line because, well, it's a little complicated, but it just seemed like the best thing to do. Okay, and it does work. In other words, I could have made the open to close, this green plot, I could have made it an absolute value, and that in one sense would have made it easier to read, or the information would have been more clear as to the size of candles, but I wouldn't have had a trigger line. Okay, well, most of you aren't interested in the quant details of why things get done. You just want to see how to make money from it. Okay, as to how we read this conviction indicator from KingMakerForex, what we look for is where a plot, the red, the blue or the green, has crossed a signal line. We look for the candle where it crossed a signal line. Now you see right here, this, just the blue just crossed above the red signal line, and that relates to this candle right here. It further went and crossed the black signal line, indicating a continuation. Clever mice, aren't we? And what this means is that after that candle, there would be a reversal from the general direction of that candle. Sometimes it's just one candle that reverses, sometimes 2, 3, or more. I tend to stick with 2 candles at a maximum, and then I step back and watch the action a bit. Now let's scroll across and see if we can find a green crossing the red signal line. And here we are. We have green crossing right here, and you wait for the cross, a clear cross. And you can see it relates to this blue candle here, which means a reversal coming from the direction, and that does happen. And how much is that? Well, these grid lines across here represent 20 pips. So we were looking at about, I'd say about a 7 or 8 pip gain in there. This is an hourly chart, so the gains aren't real huge most of the time. Now here's another cross. You can see this blue just the blue plot just came up above, and from there we got the reversal from this red candle, and it went up that way. Very nice move. But again, I only trust it for a couple of candles. At about the 3rd candle, I start to get a little nervous. But that's why you have other Kingmaker indicators in the Kingmaker package, because KingMakerForex is designed so that you can keep reading things and keep trading if you find signals elsewhere. So on that trade, I may well have stayed in because I may have been running an additional indicator to tell me that this would continue. And then we get this signal here with the blue coming down over the black and red, its black and red signal lines relating to this candle right here, the blue candle, and you can see there's a dip there, but you get about 20 pips out of that, shorting it, that is. Now there is no doubt more information in these plots which you might be able to ferret out, which I haven't yet ferreted out. But be careful if you're looking at things like the amount of divergence between the green and the blue plots, because at this zero line here for the green, the moneymaker for the green, it goes negative, so actually as it goes below it, it's actually getting bigger. And just as it goes above it, it's actually getting bigger. And in other words, negative and positive are just nominal values. Now you'll notice that you aren't getting a tremendous number of signals out of this chart. You get about 2 every 24 hours, I would say, or on average maybe 1 every 12 hours, something like that. You can actually get more signals, and all you have to do is use different moving averages, and those you can reset. The instructions for resetting are very simple, and it's on that over there at KingMakerForex.freeforums.net, and the instructions are there for resetting the averages. So what you would do is you would have one study, one algorithm, let's say that looks like this, and then below it you would load another study with a different set of moving averages, So you'd get more signals. Very easy to do and use. Now this is an hourly chart. It does work on daily as well. I haven't, well, I've used it some on 10-minute charts. I'm not real comfortable with that, but I haven't tested it that much either. It probably works on other Forex pairs. It works on stocks, I have observed, so you might want to test it there too. And especially since it's free to look at, I mean, you know, and load, might as well give it a try. I've had it work on weekly charts too. Now you have to tinker some with the averages, perhaps as you go from one pair to another, or from Forex into stocks. But you'll get the hang of it, and it's definitely worth it. It can warn you of an impending loss, or it can notify you of a gain that you could make. Now finally, those tricky places, like right here, I'm going to just circle that for you. Right there, it is hard to tell whether that's a cross or not, or whether it's a meeting or not. Personally, I like to wait for a clear cross because I don't like too much uncertainty in my trading. And when you have a situation like this, eyeballing it, it's hard to see, even if you slid the panel up some, and that would expand it. You would, on your Thinkorswim platform, you would grab hold to this bar here and slide it up. Even then, it might be hard to see. So there is an easy fix for that, and this is one of those little tricky things you want to know about. Okay, on Thinkorswim, and we're on an actual Thinkorswim platform right now, notice that with my cursor there's a vertical line that slides along with it. And so if you have a situation like, let's say right here, where you can't really tell if it's a cross or not, notice that these numbers keep changing. These numbers represent the values of the various plots. So at this point right here where it just appears to touch, you don't know if it's a cross or not, you would then read those numbers and that would tell you whether or not it crossed. Now the tricky part is if you get down here and you're trying to read whether or not it's crossed with the green plot crossing its red signal line, because you've got positive and negative. So you need to know that the bigger the negative number is, the further it is below zero. So that's one little tricky part. You have to remember that. But in general, you can figure it out. And so here we have another one. And I'm just going to settle right here on this one right here. Now look at the blue numbers up there, and that shows 00179, right? Okay, and what we want to look at is what the black says. That says 0018 something. So that means that the blue plot is still below that black plot and not yet crossing it. So that would generally not mean a reversal, and as you can see, the price continued downward. But if you get one where it's even a 10,000th of a unit, I just call it a unit, crossed above or below, that is a signal. Okay? Okay, I'm Dennis at KingMakerForex.com, just trying to give something back. So many wonderful people have helped me learn how to trade over many, many years. And so here's my little gift back to the trading community. Alright, you have a nice weekend. It is Saturday, November 29, 2014. And I hope you have a great trading week out there.